Have you ever faced a moment when the best thing you could do was walk away? Not in anger, not in defeat, but in peace? It takes incredible strength to take that step back, especially in a world that glorifies noise and confrontation. But there's a unique kind of victory in letting go, in choosing silence over chaos, and trusting that God is leading you to something greater. Walking away silently isn't giving up. It's leveling up. It's saying, I value my peace. I value my growth. And I trust that God's plan is far bigger than my need to win this moment. In this journey, silence isn't weakness. It's power. Today, let's uncover the beauty and transformation found in those moments of release and stillness. Let's start with this. Letting go is never easy. Society tells us to hold on, to fight, to prove ourselves. But God invites us to take a different approach. Ecclesiastes 3:6 says, there is a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away. Letting go isn't quitting. It's making space for something better. Think about Abraham. God asked him to leave everything he knew, his homeland, his family, his safety net, and step into the unknown. Abraham didn't argue or cling to what was familiar. He walked away in faith, trusting that God's promise was greater than his comfort. What about you? Maybe you're holding on to something that's no longer serving you. A toxic relationship, an unhealthy habit, or even a grudge that's weighing you down. Letting go takes courage, but it's a choice that opens the door to freedom. Here's the truth. Silence is often misunderstood. The world equates silence with weakness, but in God's kingdom, silence is strength. Psalm 46:10 says, be still and know that I am God. Stillness is where clarity is born, where faith is renewed, and where God's voice becomes the loudest. Even Jesus embraced the power of silence. When he was falsely accused and mocked, he didn't retaliate or defend himself. Matthew 26:63 tells us, but Jesus remained silent. Why? Because he trusted the Father's plan. His silence wasn't surrender. It was confidence in God's justice and purpose. Think about how often we react out of fear or frustration, trying to control situations or prove our worth. But silence gives us space to let God work. It's not shutting down, it's opening up to his presence. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be still? To let go of the need to explain, to argue or to be heard, and instead to let God take the lead? Silence isn't passive, it's powerful. It says, I trust God more than I trust myself. Here's the beauty of walking away silently. It creates space. Space for healing. Space for growth. Space for God's restoration in your life. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? When you walk away, you're not giving up. You're making room for God's new thing. Think of Ruth. After losing her husband, she had every reason to stay in Moab, clinging to the familiar. Instead, she walked away, choosing to follow Naomi and trust God's provision. That decision led her to a new chapter of restoration and purpose. What could God do in your life if you made space? The release isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of a new chapter. When you trust him enough to let go, you position yourself for blessings, clarity, and a deeper connection with his purpose for you. Let's make this real. Walking away silently doesn't mean walking away aimlessly. Here's how you can start. 1. Pray for clarity. Ask God, what do you want me to release, and where are you leading me? 2. Evaluate your peace. If something consistently robs your peace, it's a sign it may no longer belong in your life. 3. Take one step. You don't need to have the whole plan figured out. Like Abraham, just take the first step and trust God to show you the next. Remember Philippians 4:7, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. When you walk away silently in faith, God replaces fear with peace and direction.